So we see in this episode that Darren and Ken decide to invite their fathers to share the news about their engagement. I wonder how it will turn out. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to KRS TV. This is your boy Kenny, and this is Love, Sex, and Marriage Season 2, Episode 2. This was a really good episode, but before I dive into it, I want to mention that Love, Sex, and Marriage, the stage play, will be in the DMV on August 2nd. The show, pretty much the doors open at 6:30, and it's going to be at the Black Box Theater in Silver Spring, Maryland. I will have the link in the description box where you can actually purchase your tickets. I'm definitely going to be there, and I look forward to seeing this amazing cast, and I look forward to seeing this stage play. And it pretty much goes into how, Darren and Ken actually got together, so it's, pretty much their lives before, season 1. And I'm, a huge fan of this show. Shout out to Trey Floyd and the cast and crew. This play has been successful. They have had many dates, and they've sold out in most of these events, most of these dates. And I think the DMV is gonna be is not gonna the DMV ain't gonna be no different. So yeah, get down in those comments and purchase your tickets today. I will have the link. And also subscribe to Trayum Online so you can actually, watch season 1 as well as catch the episodes of season 2 of Love, Sex, and Marriage. So the episode opens up. Vontae is pretty much being the wedding planner for Ken and Darren's wedding. He's pretty much asking questions, colors, dates, and venues, and what about the family and all that? Does everybody know? And then we see that Cortez, who's Ken's cousin, comes in and is like, no breakfast? I'm like, really, dude? I love Cortez, though. Cortez is just so interesting. And Ken was like, what do I look like, Florence from the Jeffersons? And he's like, well, more like Jeffrey from Fresh Prince. And he's shady as shit. I was cracking up. But Ken was like, there's some cereal in there. Go make you a bowl. Shit. And then Vontae was like, how long is your cousin gonna be here? It's like, hopefully by the end of the semester, a damn door will open up for his ass. So Cortez brings up like, well, have you told Uncle James? And and pretty much Ken and pretty much Uncle James, he's talking about Ken's father, and we get off the bat that Ken does not have a good relationship with his father. He doesn't even call him dad, he calls him James. And he pretty much saying that his father's closed-minded, he don't want to deal with that. So Darren comes up with the idea, why not we invite both of our fathers and we let them know about the engagement together? And of course Ken was dead set against it, but Darren convinced him that, look, this would be the best way, to let both of them know about our love and that we want to take this next step. So we see that Darren calls his dad and he invites his dad, and his dad confirms that he's going to come. And then Ken calls his father, and his father was actually excited, and he says he's going to be there as well. So then all of a sudden, again, Cortez was like, well, what about breakfast? Because about this time, Vontae had already left because he had to go to work. And then, then Darren was like, well, babe, you do be making them pancakes, And then Kim was like, oh hell. So it's like he not only got one man to take care of, he also got to take care of his cousin too. I thought that was cute. So then at the at Vontae's restaurant, we see Ashley and Andre talking, and then Andre comes through, is like, girl, you never do no damn work. And they kind of go back and over, and then Andre was talking about how he is so hungover from this party he went to last night, but he actually met somebody, you know, for Ashley. And then Ashley was like, well, what kind of party was it? Well, it was kind of like a gay party or whatever. And she was like, what the hell we gonna do? I already got enough gay friends. What I'm gonna do with this dude? Paint, get our nails done or some shit? What the hell? And she's like, and he tells Ashley, no, he's actually straight, And she's like, well, I don't know. It sounds suspect to me. And he schooled her. Andre was like, no, suspect are the ones who sit around talking about the gays. Now, the ones who are comfortable being around us, those are the ones we have no problems with. And if anything, they're straight because they can be around us because, hindsight, if you're not gay, gay shit wouldn't bother you. Hashtag that. So pretty much, she said he pretty much tells her that he set up a date for her next weekend with this mystery guy. And then he asked, well, what's going on with Vontae? And she says, well, he went to the bank and the doctor and all that. And she asks Andre to kind of watch the post so she can do something. And he's like, girl, I'm off the clock. And she's like, well, I gotta take care of something. Like let me handle this and just wait here and just hold my post until I get back. And she's like, he's like, girl, your ass don't never do no damn work. But then Andre stays and he's like, the doctor, I hope he's okay. So we already kind of get in the air that there's something going on with Vontae. So then we get a scene back at the house. Cortez, Ken, and Vontae are talking. Ken opens up about, his father James being very homophobic. And like Vontae was like, well, that's crazy because he mentioned that, after he came out to his dad pretty much didn't really want much to do with him. And he talks about that his father was like this high school athlete and he wanted me to follow in his footsteps. So while he was watching football, I was learning the cheers from the cheerleaders, shit. But then Vontae was like, why can't people just be happy for others? I completely agree. Vontae was dead set on it. And then all of a sudden, Andre finally shows up. Oh, let me mute this. My bad. So anyway, finally Andre shows up. And he was saying, so if anything, what you guys talking about? You're talking about your father? And then Cortez was like, we already discussed that. And he was like, know a child's place. I was like, oh my god, the shade between them is hilarious. I live for it. And then he says, well, have you said anything to him? He's like, no, I'll tell, I'll wait, and probably once I tell him, he'll probably condemn me to hell and want nothing else to do with me and shit. And then he said, but look, it was Darren's idea to bring both of our fathers, over, and then we're gonna tell them together or whatever. And then he asked, like, well, what does your mom think? And he was like, well, my mom's cool, but my dad's another story. And then they were like, well, why don't your mom just tell your dad? He's like, well, they haven't really talked since the divorce, so that ain't a no-go. I think Vontae was the one that asked Cortez, so how are you liking it here in Atlanta? And he's like, I am just enjoying the camaraderies of different companions. Damn, Andre was like, are you just saying that you enjoy meeting different people? He was like, yeah, that's what I just said. And then Andre was like, you dumbass. I was rolling, and then all of a sudden, Andre was like, oh, I heard you went to the bank, Vontae. Does that mean I'm getting a raise? And he was like, no. And then Kim was like, so that means you're spending? He was like, well, not exactly, but let's talk about these color patterns. I'm like, it was so cute how he just completely just changed the subject and decided to talk about the wedding. So I'm like, what's going on with Vontae? And what's going on with his restaurant? So then we see that Darren and Ken are in bed and they're talking, and they're talking about, meeting their fathers coming through. And of course, Ken has a lot of reservations about his father. And he's saying that, look, Darren, you have a great relationship with your dad. Me and my dad don't have the same thing. And he was saying that, look, you need to just face this and actually confront it. And whatever happens, happens. But I'm with you, so he's saying that, look, this could actually be good for the both of us. And then we see that he gets a call from Vontae. Vontae's looking at this letter, and you can just see that Vontae's bothered. And he calls Ken, and he's like, I need to talk to you about something. But then he was like, what? He's like, nah, it could wait. So he's not really trying to talk about it at all. And then they talk about, well, is it about Rick? And he was like, well, things are going well between me and Rick. He also asked me out, and he says that, don't let that whole situation with Dion, throw you off. Rick is cool, and I hope things work out with y'all. But obviously, he kind of derailed it, and then they got off the phone with each other, and it's obvious that he's having some issues involving his business. So then we actually go to the actual day of the dinner. Darren's dad, Daryl, shows up. He's very cool, very down to earth. He's cool with Ken. Ken's in there cooking, and he kind of threw one of my favorite lines from Waiting to Exhale. He's like, "Oh, I'm in there cooking just leftovers. Candy yams, collard greens, mashed potatoes, macaroni and cheese, fried chicken, peach cobbler." I was rolling. I was like, that was cute how they threw that in. And then finally, Ken's father, James, shows up. And immediately Ken is thrown back because he's a little earlier, he thought he was going to come a little later. But he's like, oh no, I got off work early and I had to come in to hear the news and all of that. And he says that, what's this good news that you got to tell me? He says that, well, we'll discuss it over dinner. So pretty much, they're having dinner and everything, and then all of a sudden, he was saying that, we actually got some good news to tell y'all. And then all of a sudden, James was like, so it seems like you came to your senses. And they said, senses about what? And then James was like, came to your senses about this gay message I got going on. And they made the confession, well, we're actually letting you know that we're actually engaged and we're going to get married. And then all of a sudden, James was like, what the hell? And then Daryl was like, I think he meant that it's awesome. Like, no, I meant exactly what the hell I said. What the hell is this shit? And then pretty much Dad was like, and then, they was like, yo, show some respect. He's like, man, respect went out of the window when the two of you got together. So what is it, Ken? You want to dress like a woman? You know that's what it is? He's like, and then he's saying that, oh, so this is what it is. Y'all just gonna shack up with each other and be a bunch of faggots. And then, immediately Darren was like, look, don't use that kind of language in my house. And he says, your house, last time I checked, my son pays the bills up in this house. And then Kim was like, first of all, it's our house, and if you don't like it, you can leave. And then he was like, fine, I'm gone, and don't call me. And then, of course, Ken got mad, and he was like, see, Darren, this is all your fault. You had to have it your way. Damn, you just couldn't leave it alone. So, of course, Kim's like, just leave me alone. Just go. And Darren walks off, and then Daryl was like, he's like, look, sir, no disrespect, I just need to be alone right now. So we now see that, yeah, when Ken gets in his feelings, he can go left, and we definitely saw that at the season finale of season 1, which is still looming in the air. And we see that later on, Ken and Darren go to the store, and finally James comes back, and Daryl is there, and I have to say, this is the conversation that two men need to have in regards to having gay children. Because he was so Daryl was like, look, they went to the store. Let's sit down and have a conversation. And he was like, James was like, I don't know about that. We ain't got nothing in common. Really, James? You both got gay sons who are engaged to each other. Y'all don't have nothing in common? And Daryl even said that. So they pretty much saying that, so you actually supporting this punk shit? We need to stop this wedding. It ain't right. And he was like, why would I do that? Our sons are happy. Why would you want to do that? He's saying, like, it says it in the Bible. And he was like, the Bible? Dude, let's be real. When was the last time you been to church? And that was cute that he threw that out there, because people want to throw the Bible and half of them don't even read that shit, but want to throw it up in somebody's face because they just think, oh, because it says banning homosexuality in the Old Testament, like in Leviticus, like they just want to throw that up in people's faces and try to, like, oh, it says it in the Bible. And he was like, well, it doesn't matter. And he says, well, yeah, but if you read the Bible, it also talks about love, and our sons are a representation of that, and obviously they're doing a better job at this than you are. I was like, oh, I'm feeling Daryl. Daryl was giving it to him, but he's like, well, why my son? And he's saying that, this is what, it says it in the Bible. Like, why my son? Why this gotta happen? This is gonna be some bullshit because I'm gonna be the laughing stock and everything. And he was saying that, so you mean to tell me that because of your beliefs, your son shouldn't be happy? That you pretty much, your son should give up his happiness just because you're a punk to what other people think? And he's like, yo, I ain't no punk. And then Daryl was like, well, stop acting like one. You about to walk out of your son's life? Really? And he's like, so what I gonna do? So how am I supposed to handle this punk shit when my friends talk to me and shit? And he said, first of all, it ain't no punk shit. You need to tell these people that you're proud of your son. Your son's successful. He got his own house, got his own car, got his own business, and he takes care of his responsibilities, while their sons are hanging out in the corner waiting for a welfare check. Now that is some punk shit. I was like, drop the damn mic. Shut the damn thing down. And I was like, I love Daryl. Daryl spoke to him in the way that he needed to be spoken to and literally made him think. Like, here it is, you condemning your son. Your son is successful and your son is doing great things and has a man that loves him, and you will want him, you more care about what these other people think, when yet they're probably, their kids ain't even on the level as your son, but you're denouncing your son because you don't like who he is and who he's with. So I was like, yes, that was a great scene, and I say shout out to the actors in that scene, the two gentlemen who played the fathers. They did a phenomenal job. And then all of a sudden we see that Ken and Darren show up, and Darren said that, look, if you're gonna be up in here disrespecting my fiance, you need to leave. But then Daryl was like, nah, I think they need to talk, and I think, everything is cool. And at this moment, Ken and James have a conversation, and it was a totally different tone. And I say that it's a good thing that Daryl was there, because Daryl got James all the way together. And he needed that, because here it is, you putting your personal beliefs on the other people, and instead of accepting people for who they are. And we see that James begins to have a change of heart. They reconnect. They have a conversation, and he tells his son that he loves him. And he's just saying that, the world's a cruel place, and I'm afraid that something's going to happen to you. And he's like, look, I'm okay, and I'm not afraid, and then one thing, he's not afraid because he got Darren by his side. It's gonna be good. And he says, do you think that Darren is the one? And all of a sudden we see Ken lights up, and it's like, yes, he's the one, Dad. I love him. And he says, okay, and we're gonna come together. And then he finally tells Ken that he loves him, and Ken says, I love you too, Dad. And this is when he finally called him Dad. So I thought this was a really good episode, and it really goes to show that this is what black families need to start doing. Start accepting your children, love them unconditionally, and support them in whatever decisions they make, because being a parent means unconditional love. And if it's conditional, then you definitely got some serious issues. And because when it comes down to the love of your child, you have to love your child in totality. And there's going to be some things about your child you're not going to agree with, but regardless of the good, the bad, and the ugly, you love them at the end of the day. So that's what I have, y'all. If I missed anything, put it down in the comments. I'd love to talk to you about it. But subscribe to my channel. Click that bell so you can get notifications every time I drop a video. Also, follow all of my social platforms. I have them all listed in the description box. Also, click on that link to get your, if you're in the DMV, click on that link to get your ticket to Love, Sex, and Marriage, the stage play, which will be premiering in August 2nd in Silver Springs. Also, like this video, comment on this video, and share this video. And I'll be back with the next episode of Love, Sex, and Marriage. So until next time, everybody, take care.